I would like to welcome you to Showing People Amazing Magic. On this DVD, I have 12 magic tricks and routines that I have done for over 25 years. So I hope you'll enjoy this DVD and can use some of these tricks in your future shows. The other day, I was at the dentist's office getting my teeth checked, and I showed my dentist this magic trick, and he suggested I do it in my magic show so people would be encouraged to take care of their teeth. I'd like to show you a trick with some dental floss and a toothbrush. I'm going to take and tear off just several pieces of dental floss, just like that. And as you can see over there, number 3, and I think I'll take one more off there. Let me just take a couple of these, and I'm going to take those and just wind them up into a little ball. Just roll them up just like that. Okay. So I have 3 pieces in this hand rolled up in the ball and one over here. If you see the ball, let me just bring this over and I'm just going to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze like that. Let me get my toothbrush, tap it once, twice, 3 times, and the 3 pieces of dental floss now fully restored back to 1. This is the teaching part for torn and restored dental floss. I got this routine idea from Eugene Berger with the gypsy thread, but I do it backwards from the way he does it. One of the things you need to start out with is, instead of dental floss, it needs to be dento tape. And I recommend that you use a name brand instead of one that from a dollar store, because they just stick a little bit better. And I use a toothbrush, and it's like a little magic wand, but it helps me to ditch some of the dental tape later on. Let me show you what you do. It also, before I go into that, you need a pair of nail clippers, and this is what Eugene Berger does with the gypsy thread. You take the tape, the dental tape, and just take it out just like this of the box. And what you want to do is reel off probably about a foot, 15 inches. It just depends on your arm length, how much you want to do. But you start about 2 inches from the top, and you just wrap around the very end of the nail file, and do about 15 times. Again, it just depends on how long you want the tape at the very end, but you just wrap it around about 15 times, and this dental tape will stick together better than regular dental floss. Now once you've done a little ball like this, squeeze a little bit and pull it right off. It comes right off. Then take and wrap around a couple times to keep everything together, and then you just squeeze again, so it should look just like that. What you want to do is put the spool back on, put this back into the case, and then you want to take and put that here and bring that around the top and close up the lid, and I have a little bit out. I also use a little box to ditch my excess in, and this as a magic wand. So I show this, I talk about it, I put this either in it or behind it to ditch it. And as you see, from this end you do not see the little ball. But I'm going to show you the back side of it. As I go in, now the audience is behind me, I reach in and I grab that little ball between my fingers and just pull off like that. Now let me turn it around to what the audience sees. So I squeeze so they can't see the ball on here. and I put it, now here's from the back side, back like this, and then I show my hand empty, and it's very important that you show your hand empty like this so they think your hand's always empty. Pull off about another 4 inches, and then stick it back here, and then I normally show them together and do this. I usually do about 3 strips, about 4 inches. And by the way, I cannot show you on the tape, but at Christmas time, I use this with music. All I want for Christmas is my 2 front teeth. And it's a great Christmas song that you can use with this without saying anything. But anyway, after I got about 3 strips, I close this up and I just ditch it. Now I take the 3 ends that I just tore off. Now the ball is still here, and what you might want to do is bend these in 2. Now this takes the most practice, is trying to get these into a ball. So you just wiggle them around and just take your time and just wiggle them into a ball and just squeeze and wiggle. And once you have a ball, you show everybody the ball. Some people won't see it, but they know it's there. Then after you've done this, I bring this over, bring my 2 fingers together this way, and transfer the ball on here and bring it around. And if you squeeze, they won't be able to see the original ball. Take this like that. Now remember, you got the ball here that they don't know about, so I ditch it in my pocket or in a box as I get my toothbrush, tap it, and then take it like this. And I usually run it between my 4 fingers and thumb and just pull slowly. Do not go fast, but slowly, so the audience will know what is happening. If you go too fast, they won't know. And don't put this up where it's blocking your face, but put about chin's length and just go real slow and just give a pull like this. And you can basically hand it out to someone later. The Torn and Restored Dental Floss. All right. Well, first of all, thank you for coming up and helping me with this trick. In the little paper bag, I have 7 cards. I'm going to take 6 cards out and leave 1 in. The 1 card that's in there will be a prediction that I'll show you later. I have 6 cards. I have the 5 of diamonds, the 3 of clubs, the 9 of hearts, the ace of hearts, the 10 of clubs, and the king of spades. Sue, what I would like for you to do is come over and just shuffle them and just mix them up. When you're done mixing them up, just stop and just hand me the top 2 cards. You can check the cards out if you would like, but just shuffle them and then just hand me the top 2 cards when you finish shuffling those. These cards right here. Thank you. Now you can place those cards down here. Brianna, we have 2 cards. I want you to just take and just shuffle these 2 cards and just hand me 1 of them when you're finished shuffling them. All right. Now, do you want me to keep this card, or would you like to have it? Would you like to have? Would you want to trade, or you want to trade? Great. Now we're going to. Now don't show anybody the card. Hand just like this. Great. This is what happened. We had 6 different cards. Sue shuffled them up at random and handed me the top 2 cards. I gave the 2 cards to Brianna. She shuffled them and handed me 1. She kept 1, and then she decided to trade. So at random, there's 1 card that she kept. She could have kept the 9 of hearts, the 3 of clubs, the 5 of diamonds, the king of spades, or the 10 of clubs. But she kept 1. But I have a prediction here of which card that she would keep. And in my lunch bag, I'll tear open, and there's 1 card, and that's the ace of hearts. Brianna, would you turn your card over and show everybody what card did you keep? The ace of hearts. Thank you so much for helping. This is the teaching for the jumbo cards in paper bag. Originally, it was done about 25 years ago in a wallet with the same effects. I just changed a little bit. You have 7 cards in a bag, so you have 6 cards and a prediction card. Let me show you what the prediction card looks like. The prediction card is a double face card. So it's 1 face on one side and the other on the other side. This matches 2 of the cards that are in the pack. So what I do is this. I take the bag and I put the card in the front part of the bag, and the seams will take and separates the other 6 here, so I can just pull them out. So what I do is I tell them there's one card in there, which there's just one card, and then I show them the 6 other cards. And what I usually do is I keep the 2 cards together, because normally when you break and shuffle, a lot of times those 2 cards stay together. So you show the cards, you ask someone to break, and this is basically a magician's choice or a magician's force. They turn the 2 cards over, and look at this. They happen to give me the 2 cards that I wanted. If they do that, you can, if they hand it to you, you glance to see what they are. You can hand it to someone else, and then they can shuffle, and they can hand you a card back. It does not matter which card it is, because it matches either side that's in the bag. So what you can do is say this is really strong. When you get it this way, you can say, whatever card you choose, we'll use that card. And so you can do it that way. Now let's say if they did not hand you this, they handed you 2 cards that were not in the bag. You say, this is a discard. These cards we'll put here. We're going to do again. We're just discarding. So they do it again. For instance, if they do 2 other cards that do not match, those are discards, and then the last 2 you can use. But say, for instance, is if they would take and do this. So you have one card here, the 9, and the ace is over here. When they hand you this, you can say, okay, do you want to use my 2 or your 2? It doesn't matter, because you have one card in either one. So if they do that, they shuffle it, or you can hand it to other people in the audience to shuffle it. And then if they hand you a card, if they have the matching one here, you can say, you want to trade. If they trade, you can use, you're always going to use the card that you need. It's a magician's force. It's in a lot of the books. But basically, if it's the ace, what I do is this. I take, and I know the ace is on the outside of the bag, and the 9 is on the inside. So know which one is which. But what I do, I take and rip the bag open. Bring out this. I wad up the bag because it gives strong effects. There's only one card in there. And I show that the 2 cards match. Now, by the way, you don't want to flip the back over for them to see it. So what I normally do is I put all the cards together, and that's the way I keep them so they can't see the back. But that is called the jumbo cards in the lunch bag. This is my grandmother's button jar. And I always remember my grandmother, because growing up as a little boy, if I would lose a button on my pants or shirt or vest or coat, she would go to her button jar, and there would always be a button in there that would match the one that I lost. So I always remember my grandmother with her button jar. And if you notice in there, there's all different color of buttons. There are brown and green and white and black and blue and orange and all different shapes that are in there. Would you take and hold my grandmother's button jar? Thank you. Now, I have a bag that I carry the button jar in, but I'll just turn this inside out so you can see the bag is empty. Would you just take and hold the bag for me, just like that? And I'm going to pour my grandmother's buttons into this bag. I got to put it down. So last time I lost all the buttons on the floor. All right. Now, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to mix them up really, really good. I want you to reach into the bag. Let me just mix them up. And just pick out one button. But this is what you need to do. When you bring your hand out, make sure that you keep your hand closed so nobody knows what shape or color that button is. Okay, can you go in? Just reach in, pull out one button. Great. Keep your hand closed. Can you pull out one button? Now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to reach in and pull out one button. All right. Now, this is what we're going to do. Now, I don't know what color or shape your buttons are, but what I'm going to do is this. Let's see which one I picked. I picked out a red button. This is what's going to happen. I'm going to touch the back of your hand, just like this. And whatever color your button was, it will turn red like mine. Now, all the different color buttons, yours will turn red like mine. Would you turn your hand over and show everybody your button? Just like that. This one's called Grandma's Button Jar. Originally, about 20-some years ago, Bob Gibbons from Laugh Makers put out something similar to this. I just changed a few things with it and have been using it for a long, long time. The nice thing about this routine is that you can do it with little kids, you can do it with special need kids, or even senior citizens, because it's Grandma's button jar. And if you do, I try to get an old-fashioned one, and I just put a piece of tape over it that says Grandma's button jars on it. This is a fruit jar. I would never give this to a young kid if you're standing on concrete, because if it slips, the jar could break. So you could use a peanut butter jar that's plastic. Let me just go through the whole thing and I'll show you what it's like. You take a bag and you show the bag empty. And I normally put the whole jar in and I dump everything out. It's important to show the jar empty. I mix them up. And they reach in and they pull out a button. Now this is the whole secret here. If you look, here's everything on thread. It's all the original ones, and it all goes here. So when it goes in, it dumps in here. And on top is all the red buttons. So when they go down and grab, they grab a red one. What I do is when I mix them up, I go down and grab the whole entire buttons that are different, and I have it just like this, so they can't get it to it. And so the only thing that's left is the red buttons, and I grab this fist right here. Now the important thing is that you make sure you keep your hands closed so they don't open it up. But you can have like 40 red buttons in the bag, and you can do it with 40 kids. You can do it with almost the whole audience if you want to. When you're filling this up, you got to make sure that when you find a jar, that once you put this in, that there's a little space up here that they cannot see, that you can put all the other buttons that are the same in the top. So if you use a plastic one, you might want to get a strip of paper that has Grandma's buttons on it, and that's going to hide all the ones that are the same. So you put all the ones that are same on top, just like this, close it up, and talk about how the different colors and different shapes are in there. Again, when I open them up in the bag so nobody will spot the same ones. I open up in the bag, I dump everything, again, showing it empty, and then I juggle it up. I go in, I get the whole bag. I just get these in my fist, and I hold on to them. And I normally bring the edges down so there's not too much of the bag in there, but just let them grab it. But again, this is a great one for small kids, adults, for senior citizens, special need kids. It's a nice trick to do, but it's called Grandma's Button Jar. I'd like to show you a nice little coin trick that's done with a Chinese coin. And a Chinese coin has a hole in the middle of it. Would you just take a look, make sure it's solid? And then also, I have a ribbon. Would you check the ribbon out to make sure that the ribbon is solid? Just pull on it just like that, okay? Then when you're done checking both of them out, would you thread the ribbon through the coin? The reason why Chinese coins have holes in them are that they would always carry them on a ribbon or string around their belt. Now what I want you to do is this. I want you to place the coin in my hand, and with the ribbon on each side, great, like that. So the ribbon is running right through the coin, and there's no way that that coin can come off of the ribbon. Now to secure it, I will close my hand really tight. Matter of fact, I'm going to bring the ribbon over the top of my hand, just like this. Now I want you to take, and on count of 3, guess what? The coin will actually come off of the ribbon. 1, 2, 3, just like that. The coin has come. Matter of fact, the coin has vanished completely from the ribbon. The Chinese coin and ribbon is a really simple trick to do. You show them a Chinese coin, let them inspect a ribbon. The ribbon is a silk ribbon that you have to find in a fabric store, but they take and they inspect it, they put it on, and it's really nice because they do most of the handling, and they put it right there on your hand. And this is called the Clifton ring move. As you close your hand up, it's on your palm now. As I bring my hand over, I basically work the coin into my fingertips. So as I come around to bring the ribbon up, the coin actually drops into my hand just like this, and I'm pulling the ribbon off of the coin, and I bring this around. So basically the coin is in my hands because I drop it as I go around. So let me show you that from behind. This is what the audience does not see. It's right here. I close it up. So it's down here. So as I go here, that drops into my hand. I actually pull the ribbon over this way, and you bring it over and show that the coin has vanished. I did not realize that I had an accent until about 20 years ago. I was on tour out west, and they say that I talk funny. For instance, some of the words I say would be poosh and boosh. And another one would be fish. We like to go fishing. How many in the audience likes to go fishing? Oh, great, because I have a fish story that I want to tell you. And this is about a little boy that wanted to go fishing. There, you have that. A little boy wanted to go fishing one day, so his dad said, okay, son, you dig the worms, and we'll go fishing. So the little boy went in the backyard and dug up 3 fishing worms. He dug up a small worm. He dug up a middle-sized worm. And finally, he dug up a big, long night crawler. Oh, and of course, that's all he had, just the 3 worms. It looks a little pale. It's been sick. Well, anyway, he says, Dad, I have 3 worms and we can go fishing. His dad said, look at them, son. They're 3 different sizes. Look on it in your fishing pole. Look at your hooks. All your hooks are the same size, so that means you have to have 3 worms the same size. Now throw them away and get 3 worms all the same size. Well, the little boy didn't want to do that, so he thought, I'm going to fool my dad. He thought, if I bring all the ends of my fishing worms up, and if all the ends are equal, well, that means that my fishing worms are equal. His dad goes, no, look at their bellies. They're not the same size. Throw them away. Little boy didn't want to do that, so he thought, maybe if I just took and just stretched them like this, then I would have 1, 2, 3 worms all the same size, and I can go fishing. His dad said, son, put the worms back in the bucket and go in the house and get your lunch. Well, when the little boy left, the father went over and reached down and he pulled out the small worm. He pulled out the middle-sized worm. And finally, he pulled out the big, long night crawler. And that's my fish story for you. This is my fish story that I've done for 25 years, and basically, if you see it, it's just a professor's nightmare. I just jazzed it up with, of course, a fish and a bucket with that. And the nice thing about it is, the more you do it, the uglier the fish gets, the more the bucket gets used and the shine's off of it. But I'm basically doing the professor's nightmare, which I want to tell you a little bit about the ropes after I show you. But there are 3 pieces of rope. If you're not familiar with it, 3 different lengths. Long, medium, and short. And you always come up with the short one. Always remember that the long one, the fishing worms, the long night crawler is the last one. But basically what you do is you have them in your hand this way, and this is the back view. You take the small one and you bring it around to the front, and then you bring the next size, the middle one up and put it in the back, and then you take the other one in the back like this. And you basically take these 3 ropes and these 3 ropes and you just pull them apart. And you hide this little part right here. But that's so it looks like you have 3 separate pieces of rope. And what you do is you take your 2 fingers and take the single rope by itself and pull it out so they can see it. And I always go palm out so they can see it. Now what I do, I'm making a switch. And what I'm doing is I'm taking these 2 fingers and grabbing this rope and then my forefinger and thumb and grabbing this and pull it up, and it looks like I just got one off of there instead of trading and then two. But that's all in the instructions of Professor's Nightmare. What I want to tell you about is how to make the ropes not ravel. Now, if you use the ropes a lot, it'll start out really, really white, and after about 300 shows, they'll turn darker. And I want to just show you how to make the ropes real, real limber, because usually if you buy Professor's Nightmare, the ropes are not as limber. So this is what the rope will look like. And what you want to do is take and peel back the ends. And there are strings in there. There are strings in there. And what you want to do is just pull the strings out just like this. And just pull it down. So you're decoring the rope. And then save this for later, because I'm going to show you about the string trick. So let's lay these to one side. But I want to show you how to do this. This is just plain old clothesline rope, and this is magician's rope. It's a little bit thicker, this one, and I recommend this over that. So let me just show you how to take the ends so they'll be like this, and it won't come unraveled. You take a pocket knife, and I heard this from Francis Marshall that was saying about this. But you take a pocket knife and just bend down the ravels on the rope and just poke them down in the hole. Now this takes a little bit of time, but you just go around the circle and just shove all the ends down into the hole after you decor it, just like this. So you just keep on working it around, turn it, and just poking it down in the hole. And once you've done this, the rope will not come unraveled. And again, it takes a little bit of time to get the ends down, but you're just taking and just shoving it in like that, almost finished. So you have a little ball at the end of your rope. Just a couple more ends, just like that. So you have a little ball at the end of your rope, and what you want to do is just take and squeeze it, and believe you me, this will last for years and years without coming unraveled. Because a lot of people will dip these ends into glue, hot glue, or wax to keep them, but they're pointed and they're sharp. But if you just decor the rope and just bend the frazzled ends, you can have a little ball like that. So that is my worm trick, and also works with ring on rope too. You can do it that way. Well, Sue, Brianna, thank you again for helping me. I'd like to show you my mother's favorite trick, and it has to do with this little chest, this wooden chest. Inside the little wooden chest, I have a little wooden tray. I'll place it right here. Also in the little wooden chest, I have 6 different colored balls. I have a pink ball, a dark blue ball, a green ball, a yellow ball, an orange ball, and a light blue ball. And as you both can see, the box is solid. It's empty. Let me get my magic wand to make this official. As you see, solid, solid, and solid. I'm going to take and close the box up. I'm going to lock the box and place it right here. So Sue, you're supposed to watch the box, make sure nobody touches it, especially me. Okay. Well, first of all, Sue, we have a front row, we have a back row. Just pick a row. Just say front or back.
Front row.
Okay. We'll take all the balls off of the front row. We'll eliminate them. Put right there. Brianna, I want you to pick any 2 balls off of the tray. 2. Okay, let me have those. Great. Put them back here. This is what we have. We had 6 different colored balls on a tray. You picked the front row of balls. We took them all off, put them in there. We had 3 balls on the back row. You picked any 2 you wanted. And I took them up and put it there. So basically, we eliminated 5 of the balls. This could have been the green ball, the yellow ball, the pink ball, the orange, the dark blue one. But it's a light blue one. At random, this is one that was left on the tray. I want you to watch what happens to the light blue ball. I'm going to take and put my left hand. Let me get the magic wand. Let me take and tap it 1 time, twice. Here you go, Sue. 3 times. As you see, the light blue ball has vanished from my hands. Would you show your hands empty first? Would you reach over and unlock the box? And if there's something in the box, would you show everybody what's in the box? the light blue ball. The chest of gems is a trick I've been doing for 25 years. And it's basically it's a magician's choice or a magician's force. You have a box, you open it up. And what I like about this box is the front can go down so that everybody can see it. But there's a wooden tray there, and there are 6 balls in there, or 6 of whatever you want. You just basically bring the balls out. And I normally have somebody, if available, to hold this as I go. So I bring those out, somebody's holding them, and I show them that this is empty. I reach into my pocket or a little box to get out a magic wand. Sometimes it's laying behind there. But as I go into the box to get my magic wand, I bring a duplicate ball out, one that I'm going to force. So I have basically showed the box empty. I reach over for my wand, I grab the ball, and as I'm tapping it, I grab it, the lid, the ball is underneath the lid, I close it up, lock it, and it's over here. So the ball is already loaded, and it's over there. And I don't really have somebody holding it because it could roll back and forth, but I have somebody to watch it. And I always tell them, make sure I do not touch it. So, and I reinforce that. I said the box is locked, it's empty, and it's over across there. Now then, the next thing I do, I put my wand back into the box or wherever so I can ditch something that I'm wanting to palm later. So we have 2 rows of 6 different colored balls. Now I'm going to force the light blue one on them. So I'll have somebody that I said pick a row, front or back. Well, if they say the front row, you say, great, I'm going to take all the balls off the front row because you picked that. If they say the back row, it doesn't matter. I'll say, okay, you have the back row, I'm going to take all the balls off of the front row. So I will, whatever they do, I take the balls that's not in the row of my choice, and I ditch those. Then I have somebody, I have this person to go up and stand in front of somebody and say, pick any 2 balls off of the tray. If they pick these 2 balls off, I let them hand them to me, and I ditch them. And then we work with that. If they would pick these 2 balls off, what I do is immediately get rid of the tray and the 3rd ball. I said, hand me one. If they hand me this one, I ditch it. If they hand me this one, I say, okay, this is what we're going to use. This is the one you gave me. I take this ball and ditch it. So basically, you're just forcing them to give you this ball. I reinforce them saying that now this could have been the blue, the dark blue one, the green one, the yellow one, the pink one, the orange one, but it's the light blue ball. I go back and say, now remember, before we even started this trick, I show you that the box, it was locked, it's empty, it's across the table. Now watch what happens to the light blue ball. I just basically go like this and do a palm. And I have it right here. So I just do just a basic, whatever you can do is to palm it. It's in here. As I reach down to get my wand, I drop it. I tap my hand once, twice, the ball is gone. I make sure people know that both hands are empty. I have someone go over and unlock the box. And I make sure that before they open it up, they show their hands empty. And they unlock it. The nice thing about this box is they can open up the lid, the front can go down, and then the ball vanished from my hand and it traveled across the table. So that's called the chest of gems. You can do this with any 6 items you want to in any container. But it's one I've been using for 25 years. It's one of my favorites. Okay, Sue, Brianna, I'd like to show you a trick with some string. I want you to do exactly as I do, but let's get some string out of this envelope here. Okay, if you take this one here, and if you take this one, and we'll give you 2 strings. Let me see. Take this one and that one. And let me see if there are, there are 2 left just for me. This is what we're going to do. We have 2 strings. Would you hold them about 1 inch from the top, just like this, and hold them straight out so everybody can see it. Like this. Have 1, 2 strings the same size. So we just pull that down just a little bit. Make sure they're equal. Great. And you hold it just out like that. Now, this is 1 and 2. What we're going to do is take the first string and at the bottom of it, bring it up to the first position. So you'll have 3 strings at the top just like that. Good. Okay. Now we'll take the other string that's at the bottom and we'll put it in the last position, or the number 4. So now you have 4 strings at the top. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, just like this at the top. Now don't you do anything, but just watch me first and then you do it. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm going to take the first and last string and just take and pull apart, and your 2 strings will become 1, just like that. So would you go ahead and do that? Take your first and last string. Go like this. Go 1, 2, 3. Take your first and last string. And just pull them apart. And, well, I tell you what, once you take that home with you and you can practice, and maybe you might be able to do it later. Thank you for helping me. Do as I do string trick. Remember earlier we decored the magician's rope. Well, you take the string out of the magician's rope and you can use it for this trick. And again, it works with the magician's rope string and not the clothesline rope. And this trick was shown to me by a friend of mine, Bill Brewy, out of Cincinnati, Ohio, probably about over 25 years ago. And I use a white envelope so you can hide everything with it, but because of the camera purposes, I will show you what it looks like with this envelope. When I pick this envelope up, you can pretty well hold it, but in the back of it, I have my gimmicked string right here. And let me show you what the gimmick string is like. The gimmick string is basically where you take the string and you go in half, and of course you do this ahead of time, and you peel back the middle part halfway like this, and you twirl the ends together, and if you look at it and hold it, it looks like 2 separate pieces of string, and you're basically hiding that part right here. So that's the secret of the trick, is you take, and it looks like that. So what I do is I come out with the envelope, and you can have more than 2 people. Sometimes I have 6 people helping me. It just depends on how many strings that you have in here. So also in the rope, let me show you here in the envelope, I have 4 ungimmicked strings that I pass out. So as I come out, my thumb is over here, and I open this up, and I hold on to this back here, but at one end I have the ungimmicked strings, and I basically bring them out one at a time, and I hand them to the different people to use. Then I go back in, and I say, well, I'll take 2 myself, and I bring it out this way. Now remember, I am holding this twisted end right here. So what you do is you tell everybody, do as I do. You bring this up, the bottom one up to the number 1 position, and leave about 1 inch or so up the top. And this can be kind of hard with little kids to have all these pieces up here. Then you take the other one, put it up in the 4th position. Then you take and grab the number 1 top, and then you have to let these 2 go like that. And as you do, you just pull real fast, and it goes into 1. So that's do as I do rope trick, and it's very easy to do. It's something that a lot of times I forget about, but I always carry it with me. But you just decor a rope, cut the other ones in half, and just peel it back. Very simple to do. I'd like to show you my favorite card trick. You would notice that all the cards are all mixed up. They're in no certain order. Matter of fact, I'll turn them over and I will shuffle the cards to mix them up a little bit more, just one more time. Now I want you to take any card you want. Take a card. I want you to look at it and remember the card. Okay. Matter of fact, would you just show it to the camera just to make sure that everybody will remember the card? Okay, would you put it back into the deck anywhere you want? Great. Now I will shuffle the deck one more time. Matter of fact, I'm going to take and cut the deck just a couple more times, okay? All right. Now, Brianne, this is what we're going to do. Brianne, I'm going to ripple through here, and you just say stop anywhere, okay? So I'm going to ripple through. Just say stop anywhere you want. Right there. This is your card. I want you to remember. You got it? Okay, I'm going to put it back into the deck. I'm going to shuffle your card into the deck along with hers. So we have two cards that are lost into the deck. this is what's going to happen. Let me just cut the deck one time and just put it right here. We shuffled a deck. You chose any card that you wanted. You put it back in the deck. I shuffled and cut and lost your card into the deck. I went over. I rippled through the deck. You said stop anywhere you wanted. You looked at that card. I put it back into the deck, shuffled and cut. So your cards are somewhere in the deck. I'm going to try to take both of your cards and bring them to the top of the deck on a count of 3. But you know what? I just thought of this. I can't bring both cards to the top of the deck. Only one card can be on the top of the deck. But wouldn't it be more amazing that both of you chose the same card? Out of all 52 different cards in there, you chose the same card. I tell you what, on a count of 3, name your card and let's see if it came to the top of the deck. 1, 2, 3.
Queen of Spades.
This is my favorite card trick with a deck of cards. It's called 2 Cards Chosen. I'm amazed when I see a magician take a deck of cards, shuffle them, and he can force any card on you, can control a card, just unbelievable. I'm not that way, so I need a little help. So with this deck, this is called a stripper deck or a tapered deck. And what it is, if you're not familiar with it, is this. The cards are shaved or tapered down this way. So when a card is taken out of the deck and turned around and put it back into the deck, all you do is just bring your fingers up along the side and you can pull the card out just like that. So you can find a card that's in there. It's called a stripper deck, a tapered deck, a shaved deck. So let me show you what I do. I basically make sure that before I put the cards into the deck that the end that the card comes out will be at the bottom. So I will take the cards and put them in this way into the deck. And it's right there, and I'm ready to do the trick. I bring the cards out. I show all the cards different in no order. I shuffle a deck. And with this, it does not matter what order the cards are in. I fan them out. I let them pick. I have a person here and a person over there. I let them pick any card that they want. Now, this is a 7 of spades. Now, I watch to make sure that they don't turn the card around because that's going to mess you up. But they bring it out and they look at it. I'll put it right here for a second. As they're watching this, I have to turn my deck around in order to get the cards, that card in upside down. So basically what I do is I square the deck up. As they're doing, I say, remember your card. So I am turning the cards around like this. So the cards are upside down. So the next thing that's natural is to put the cards in your hand and fan them out. So I've actually turned the cards upside down without them knowing it. And then they take and put the card in anywhere, and I shuffle it again. Now, after I shuffle that person's card in, I want to be able to bring that card to the bottom of the deck. So, now see, the card's going to come up here. So what I normally do is, if the card's not down at this end, I just do the same thing. Now, you remember what your card was. Fine. So I'm just turning it around. I get a few more shuffles, and then I am finding out where the card is. So the card is right here. See, I can pull it out the bottom. So what I do is I say, I'm just going to cut the cards a couple times. And I basically cut it like this. Now, this is what I do. You can do one of two things. One, here's the card. If you take, now your forefinger is going to be against here, bracing it. If you take your thumb and your middle finger and actually squeeze, look what happens. The bottom will pop off. It braces and pops off. And so that's going to be your cut. So you just take and squeeze, and it pops off. You put it on top. And now your card's at the bottom, and you can do your next force. If you're not familiar with that, if you don't want to do it because it takes a little bit of practice, you can actually, from this end, pull it out, and then just take your finger and just bring it over and put it under the bottom that way. So that's two ways to get her card or his card to the bottom. So the card's on the bottom. You go to this person. You say, now I'm going to riffle through, and you say stop anywhere you want. So you go like this, and when they say stop, you show them the card. Now, this is called the Hindu shuffle because it doesn't matter how many times you riffle through. It doesn't bother the bottom card. The bottom card is always going to be the same. It's called the Hindu shuffle. So you're forcing that person's card on this person. So when they say stop, remember it, put it here. Now, you want their card to go to the top. So basically, you shuffle the card in again, and you do the same thing. You actually bring their card to the top, which, again, if you take and squeeze, there'll be a break, and you can bring it there. Or you can slide, again, the card out at the bottom, and just take the bottom part and bring it to the top. It's very simple. Now let me tell you something else if you get worried. If you take and cut the cards, and all of a sudden, let me just get it right down here. If you take and you cannot feel that card is normally close to the top or bottom. If you run your fingers up and down, if you can't feel that card as you're talking, then you want to take and shuffle or break again until you feel it. Now remember, do not look at your cards as you're doing this. I usually talk to them as I'm doing it, and then I can break like that. But I'm always looking at them and not at the cards. So I put the cards down, or I hold them in my hand, and I'll say, I'm going to bring your 2 cards to the top of the deck. Now I reinforce them that I shuffled the cards. They picked any card that they wanted, put it back in the deck. It was shuffled, cut a couple times. I ripple through. You said stop anywhere, and that card was shuffled and cut back into the deck several times. So I'm going to bring your chosen cards to the top. And then I say, oh, wait a minute. I cannot bring 2 cards to the top. Only 1 card can be to the top. On the count of 3, would you name your card? 1, 2, and I always count, then 3, and then as soon as they say it, I turn the card over slowly when they say their card. But it's a great way to control a card, use a stripper deck, a taper deck. But I like that because basically their card is chosen freely. I just take and force their card to the bottom. And then with that card I do a Hindu shuffle, which I just showed you, and then I bring it to the top. So it's a good way to get 2 people involved with almost a regular deck of cards that they think. But it's called the 2 cards chosen. Brianna, I'd like to show you my little vault that I carry with me as I travel. This is fireproof. It's waterproof. Because I'm always afraid that my watch or rings could be in a fire or an accident, and I always want to keep them safe. So I carry this with me. And as you see, it's empty. I'm going to take and lock this back up. And we're going to get to this a little bit later. But I just want to show you my little lockbox that I carry with me as I travel. I'm going to take and put that over there. In my billfold, I have 6 different bills. A $1 bill. This is a $1 silver certificate. A $2 bill. A $5 bill, the original one, not a new one. And a $10 bill, which is original one, not a new one. And a $20 bill. Now I have these in these little sleeves to protect them because some of them are worth a little bit more than their face value. But this is what we're going to do, Brianna. I'm going to spread these out. I want you to go out to the audience and pick out 6 different people, and they get to choose any dollar bill that they want or any bill that they want. And the people in the audience, when you choose your bill, hold it up with your forefinger and your thumb like this so everybody can see what bill that you have chosen. So Brianna, if you hold this right here, go out into the auditorium, let them pass out. Then I'm going to get a couple baggies out. And this is what I want you to do, Brianna, is this. I have 2 Ziploc tuck baggies. I want you to hold them just like this. Go back out into the audience and I don't care who you start with, but let them put their bills in either bag that they want. But just make sure that the bills are balanced. In other words, that the bags have the same amount in it. So would you take those like this, go back out. Great. Come back in here. Now, young lady right there, would you pick right hand or left hand? Which hand would you want?
The right hand.
Okay. So we're going to take and get rid of all the bills in the left hand over here. We'll place it there. Now, Brianna, I want you to just reach into the bag and pick any 2 bills you want. It doesn't matter which one, just pick any 2 bills. Great. I'll place these over here too. So basically, we have eliminated 5 of the 6 bills. And in it is it looks like the $5 bill. So this is what has happened. We went out to the audience, and at random, 6 different people picked the bill that they wanted. And then Brianna went back out into the audience, and they got to put their bill in either bag that they wanted, their choice. A young lady said she wanted to use the bills in the right bag, so we got rid of all the bills in the left bag. Brianna chose any 2 bills that she wanted. We eliminated. So there's 1 bill that remains. And this could have been the $1 bill, the silver certificate, the 2, the 10, the 20, but it's the $5 bill. I want to show you a trick with the $5 bill. I'm going to put it back into my billfold, and this is what we're going to do. I tell you what, okay, this is what we're going to do. Let me bring the bill. Oh, wait a minute. The $5 bill has vanished from my wallet. It's gone. Sue, would you come over for a minute? Would you show your hands empty? Remember before we even started the trick that I showed you that my vault was empty? Sue, would you open up the vault to see if there is anything in there? Now remember, we went to 6 different people. They chose what they wanted. They went through and they put it to any bag. So bills were eliminated right and left by several different people. Is there something in it? Would you open it up and show people what is in the vault? The $5 bill. This is a trick that I have been using for years. It's called the 6 bill prediction, and it comprises of several different things. One, this is called a transformation tube, and it's made by Ronjo. And let me just show you how it works if you're not familiar with it. You can take and undo this end and show this end empty. You take the lid off, and you can put some water stuff in it too, but it's a transformation tube that you can switch different items or make things vanish or disappear or reappear or whatever. But you put this back on now. Look what happens. This end is empty. Underneath your hand when it's covered, you slide it this way like that, turn it over, and then whatever you want to make appears at this end, which I want to make one of the bills that I have forced appear right there. So that's called a transformation tube by Ronjo. They run anywhere from $40 to $50, but it's real easy to do. You just slide it back and forth with the cover of your hand. The next thing I have is a Hember wallet. A lot of magicians have it, have those. And basically what it is, you can take and switch one, make some bills appear or disappear with that. So what I've basically done is I've gone to a coin shop and also to the bank and got some new bills that are now old bills because it's not a new 20 or 10 or whatever. But if you get a $1 bill, and then in order to get 6 bills to do basically the same thing I did with the chest of gems that we did earlier, I have 6 different bills, and sometimes you have to use like a silver certificate, a $2 bill, or whatever, just so as long as you have 6 bills. And I wouldn't really use foreign money. You want something that looks usable, and the only 2 things that we don't use all the time is a $2 bill or a $1 certificate, but a lot of people know about it. I have a bill sleeve that you can get at a coin shop that you put the bills in, and I do that so the bills won't get torn or roughed up, or also too, if you're in a big crowd and the person who takes the $20 bill, he might do a bill switch for a $1 bill and you may not know it. So I have it like that. And also I've taken these little blue stickers, and they're little price tags that you can get from a place where you go, an office supply place, but these are price stickers to put them on there to keep them in there. But when I hand them out, I tell everybody to take and I actually show them. I said, just hold it out so everybody can see what bill you have. So I have somebody over here with this. I spread them out, and I have this person go to anybody in the audience, and he or she can pick out 6 people. And so the nice thing about this trick is you can have up to 9 people helping you with about 7 choices. So they pick any bills. And what I normally do is I watch the person who I force the $5 bill. So I always watch who has the $5 bill. So again, I showed this empty. Somebody's watching it. Somebody else is taking this back. I have 6 people that have picked a bill. I can even have somebody else come up now and I tell them about the empty bags. So what I want to do is I want to divide those. You want 3 in here and 3 in here. So I basically say just put the bill in any bag you want, just long as it's balanced. So I'm telling them 3 and 3, but I'm not actually saying it. I'm just saying where it's balanced. So you can have somebody else go out and they actually put the bills in. Now I'm actually watching where the $5 bill, which bag it's put in. Is it in the right hand or left hand? That person comes up. I have someone else say, pick right hand or left hand. Well, it doesn't matter what they say. If they say right hand, you ditch them because the $5 bill's over here. If they say left hand, that's fine. You're ditching this because you want this one. So they're going, and I have this person go out to someone else, and they pick out 2 bills. So again, just like the balls that I have with the chest of gems, if they pick out these 2 bills, I bring them back and put them away, and we have here. If they just pick out, if they pick out the 5 and a 10 and leave the 20 in the bag, I get the bag from them. This is gone. I said, hand me one of the bills. If they hand me the 10, it goes, and we use the 5. If they hand me the 5, I said, this is what we're going to use. I take the 10 and ditch that back here. So basically, it's the magician's choice, magician's force, but I have the $5 bill. So what I'm going to do is I put the $5 bill in the Hember wallet, and I close it up. And as I'm talking, I basically just transfer it to this hand, which I have actually flipped it over. And I said, now we're going to take the $5 bill. And then all of a sudden I stopped, like I just have a thought. Oh, wait a minute. The $5 bill has vanished. Now remember before we started the trick, that was empty and nobody has touched it. Let's open it up. Now we have not set this up yet, but let me show you. I have not switched this yet, but what I do is as I'm turning it, this is my switch. As I'm turning it this way, my hand goes over for like a big last turn. As I'm doing it, I slide it over and I'm actually just turning it up, putting it upright. So this is what it looks like from behind. I take it, I actually slide it up this way, and then it actually sets it up. So it's just a little move like that, and I have actually switched ends. I have that person show their hands empty. I think it's very important. They actually till it down, and then they can unscrew it. And it takes a while to take this off. And as they do it, now sometimes if I have to do it, I make sure that they know that my hands are empty. And they take and they unfold it, and it's the $5 bill that I force. Again, you can also force any bill if you want. If you have to do this for another audience, just put a $10 bill in this time. But it's called the 6 bill trick, and it's done with a transformation tube, a Hember wallet, and 6 different bills. I have a solid ring and a solid piece of rope. What I would like to show you is this. I'm going to thread the rope through the ring, just like that. And as you can see, the ring is on the rope. If I go 1, 2, 3 like this, the ring comes off of the rope. Now, if I take the rope, the ends are up here. If I thread the rope through the rings, so the ends are up here and the middle's down here. If I take and reverse that, if I bring the ends down and the middle up there, nothing happens. The ring is still on the rope. But if I do this a third time, if I bring the ends way up here and the middle's here, if I go 1, 2, 3, the ring just melts right through the rope. This is the ring on rope, and I actually just do a couple of these the same way Patrick Page uses, but I'm going to show you a couple of different rings. I like the heavy metal one. It's thick, and this is one that is made in Germany, I believe. This is a macrame ring that you can get at a craft store if you can find them. Very hard to find. These are 5-inch rings right here. If you do walk around, you can get like a 3-inch ring and do it with a shoelace. And then also in my other DVD, I talk about using a dog collar that's rounded, and you talk about walking your rabbit, and the rabbit vanishes, and it's where the ring off a rope comes. So you can use several different types of round object, and I usually let them check to make sure that that's on good. But if you want to talk about losing your dog or rabbit off of the rope. Now, the rope that I use is one that's decored. I've taken the strings out the end of it and rounded off the top. So this is what I will do from the side position. I'll just show you a couple moves with it. I hold the ring with my thumb here, and it's between my third finger and middle finger, and I bring the rope through, and I let it come down about 5, maybe 6 inches. Now what I do, now I'll show you from the front and then from back. Then I bring it around so they can't see what's going on, and I switch hands and I bring it down like that. Let me show you from the back what it looks like. As I bring it down, and as I bring it around this way, this is what happens. I come over and I clip the rope here and the ring, and then I'm still holding on with my left hand, and this goes straight down, and it goes even just like that. So let me show you what it looks like again from the front. Here it is like this. As I come around, it looks like I'm just bringing it down, it's just switching hands with the ring. This is what it looks like again from the back side. It looks like I'm just basically putting the ring over here and pulling it down. So I clip it here, hold the ring between my forefinger and thumb, and then just take this and just bring it all the way down. Then I come back and switch hands, as you see right here. And I let go and I just go 1, 2, 3, up, and it's off. And this is what it looks like from the back. I just go 1, 2, 3, off. And then as I bring it around, now again, the audience is out in front. As I bring it 1, 2, 3, off, I go and bring it out this way. So as I bring it around, they can actually see it like I've taken it off the middle. It just gives a little appearance with that. Now the other thing I like to do with it is I say that I have a rope, and I make sure that they check out that everything is solid, the rope is solid. Here's the middle, and I have somebody or myself thread the ring onto the rope, and I bring the ends over like this. And I say the middle's down here and the ends are up here. If I wanted to reverse that, I will bring the ends down. Now look what I do. I make sure that this end goes inside the ring. So as I bring it up, this goes in, and I hold up here, and I pull the 2 ends down, and I let that drop. So actually this rope is inside the ring. Now, I take that, and if I bring it up again like this, it'll actually make it where I can actually pull it right off of the rope. I'll do it one more time for you. I bring it down here. The ends are dropped down. I bring the ring up, let this go inside the ring. I hold it with my left hand. I pulled down on those 2 ends, and I bring this loop up, and you can actually let it dangle a little bit. Now remember, this is inside, this is on the outside of it, and then as I switch and bring this around, it's actually making the ring come right off of the rope like that. So that's the 2 ways that I do with ring through rope. Brianna, I'd like to show you a trick with some coins. First of all, in my coin pouch, I have a prediction written on a card. I'll place this at the edge of my table. We'll look at that later. I have also 6 coins. A silver dollar, a half dollar, a quarter, a dime, a nickel, and a penny. Would you make a choice, either heads or tails? Just pick heads or tails.
Heads.
Heads, great. What we're going to do, we're going to gather all these coins up, and you will take in your hands and mix them all up and drop them, and whatever coins are tails, we're going to eliminate and put back in my pouch, okay? All right, here you go. So go ahead and shake them up real good, mix them up. Are there any tails? Oh, let's do it again. Okay. Great. Okay, the penny we'll put back in the coin pouch. And the $50 and the dime. Good job. There you go. One more time. They're all heads. Was that heads or tails?
Yes.
Okay, we'll eliminate that. That was the quarter. One more time. They're both tails. And that's silver dollar. So we have one left. And which one was that?
The nickel.
The nickel. So my prediction out of all the 6 coins that the nickel would be the last one left. I call this coin trick heads or tails. And I like to keep all my coin tricks separate, so I always keep them in a different pouch. As you unzip it, I open it up and I pull out a prediction. Now the prediction is written on the back of my business card, which makes it kind of nice. And I put it right over here off to one side. Then I reach in, or I just pour out on the table 6 different coins that I am using. And I tell everybody what the coins are. And I put them in order, if you want to. A silver dollar, a $50, a quarter, a dime, a nickel, and a penny. And I have somebody to just say heads or tails. It doesn't matter if they say tails. You say, okay, what we're going to do, we're going to shake the coins up, throw them down, and whatever coins are tails, we're going to get rid of. If they say heads, I say the same thing. We're going to shake it up, throw it down, and whatever would be tails, we'll eliminate. So the last coin that will be heads will be on my prediction. And this is done with a double-headed nickel. So it doesn't matter. These will always eventually go to tails, and this will always be head, and this will be my last coin. So I usually, as I'm talking, I put it up here and I shake my hand so they can actually see how I'm doing it, and then I drop it. Sometimes if you get where you, and then we pull it out. Sometimes if you get a point where they're always coming up heads, drop it a little bit higher, and then of course you put this. And if you keep putting them back in your purse as you are, or your pouch as you're eliminating, all your trick is done. So here you have your nickel. You go over, showing your prediction, and then you put your nickel away. But this is done with a 2-headed coin. I like nickels because they're so common. You might want to have a couple double-headed coins in case you want to do it as a repeat. But that's called heads or tails. It's very simple to do, and I get a lot of reaction from the audience because they're actually participating in it. It seems like they're always in control, which they're not, but it's just with a double-headed coin. You guys have been a great audience today, and I'd like to show you a magic trick that you guys can actually do at home. It's one of the easiest tricks in all of magic to do, but I tell you what, even though it's easy, you need to watch real close. Don't blink your eyes. Don't open your mouth. If you do, you won't be able to do the trick, but it's one of the easiest tricks in all of magic, and I'll show you how it's done. It's done with 2 silks or 2 hankies. Make sure they're the same size but 2 different colors. Now I will take one and put it in my pocket. The other one, what you do, and this is the whole secret right here, folks, you take one of the silks and you place it into your left hand. Now I can't walk out on stage like this. You're going to see that I have 2 silks, one in my hand, one in my pocket. So here's the secret. Backstage or in another room, what you do, you make a fist and you poke one of the silks into your hand. Just like that. Now, make sure that you keep your hand tight. In other words, don't let the silk poke out through your fingers. If you do, everybody will see it. So keep your fist tight, fingers together, and just poke a little bit down the top. Now, as you're doing this, now remember this is in the other room. If you poke too much down at one time, look what's going to happen. It comes out the bottom. Don't worry. Just take your finger and just shove it back up here. So if a little bit comes out the bottom, don't worry about it. Poke a little bit down the top. Check the bottom. Poke a little bit more down the top. Check the bottom, top, bottom, top, and bottom. Now you come out into the room waving the white silk. This is called misdirection because everybody's looking at the white silk over here that you're waving. They don't notice about your left hand being in a fist. They all see the white silk. But whatever you do, don't open up your left hand. If you do, they'll see that you have two silks, and that ruins the whole trick. So make sure that you keep your left hand closed. Come out waving the white silk, and put the white silk into your hand just like that. Just poke a little bit down the top. Now turn your hand over. Now the blue silk that was in your hand when you were off stage or in the other room, just take and pull a little bit out the bottom like that. Poke a little bit down the top. Pull a little bit out the bottom. Tell them that you're dyeing the silk. Poke a little bit down the top, pull a little bit out the bottom. And make sure it looks like one silk. So top, and bottom. Now that's the easy part. The hard part is getting rid of the white silk. You can't walk around like this all day. You'll look like the Statue of Liberty. So I reach into my pocket and pull out some magic wiffle dust. That's from the holes in a wiffle ball. Sprinkle the wiffle dust on top of your hand, and right before your very eyes, the white silk will vanish, and you can do the trick once again. This is one of my favorite tricks. I've done this thousands of times in the past 25 years. It's basically a color-changing silk trick. And I use, of course, two different color silks. One's a white and a blue. They are 12-inch silks. And I use also a dye tube without the middle gimmick inside that, and it's flesh-colored. What I like to do is throughout, if I'm doing a group that's sort of loud, I'll say, now, if you guys are really good, I'm going to teach you a trick towards the end of my show. And I let them know ahead of time, I'm going to teach you a trick. I'm going to teach you a trick. Well, this is a sucker trick. And they think they're going to learn something, but they really don't. So this is how I do it. I place the dye tube between my middle finger and the base of the thumb right there in the palm position. And I take the two silks and I clip it through this is from a back position, between my thumb and forefinger. And I come out and I let it go through my hand, and I let as I'm talking, that they have to watch real close. Do not close your eyes. Do not open your mouth. And I say that so they won't say anything. I said, if you open your mouth or close your eyes, you won't be able to do it. So a lot of them are really quiet. So as I'm doing this, I'm going through here, and I'm hiding this from the back. So I take one silk, and I put it in my pocket, and I always use the collared one to start out with. Now, I'm doing this a couple times, and I'll say, now you have to place the blue silk into your hand. Now watch what I do. I take and turn my hand this way, and I lay the dye tube right in my hand as I do it. So I just go, lay the dye tube, and I hold on to the silk, and I pull it right down, and I grab it just like this. So the dye tube is hidden in my hand. Then I make a suggestion. I said, well, you can't come out on stage like this. They'll see that you have two silks. And I actually turn it around sometimes so they can actually see everything because the dye tube is hidden. I said, so you have to be sneaky. So I take and pull this down. I said, you have to take and poke it in one end. So I just poke it in one end, and I tell them to make sure they keep their fingers together really tight so it won't poke out through their fingers. Now I poke it down enough where there's enough at the bottom that I can actually pull out like that. So I pull out the bottom because I want them to know I'm not using a thumb tip. A few people think they know thumb tips are used by magicians, but you can't do that with a thumb tip. So I pull it out, and I said, now if that happens, just go back in. So I push it down this way, and I check the bottom. And I use different fingers as I'm doing that, top, bottom, and I'm turning my hands back and forth as I'm talking. Top, bottom, top, and I get this in, bottom, top. Now look what I do. I use my middle finger, and I take and pull this straight up, and the back of my hand is hiding it from the audience. I pull it up, and then I go bottom. So I actually, again, what I do is I pull it up and bottom, but if you see it, I'm pulling up this way and there. So again, what I do is I pull it up, I say check the bottom, then I immediately take my forefinger and thumb, I go down to my pocket and pull this out, and I shake it. And I keep the dye tube, my hand facing me, and I said, now I wave this as misdirection because everybody's looking over here at the white silk. They don't know that you have a blue silk hidden in your hand. But whatever you do, don't open up because they'll see that you have two silks, and I always show two, and I wipe my eyes, said, and that will ruin the whole trick. I go back just like it's nothing. So, that it's just a normal part of the trick. I say, so you'll see, I have two silks, you'll ruin the whole trick. And then immediately I go over and I take, and again, my back of my hands here, and I shove the eye tube in and immediately poke this down just a little bit down the top. So let me show you what that looks like from the front. So immediately I go over, I shove the dye tube in and poke the end of the silk, the white silk in there, and I turn it over. Poke a little bit in, turn my hand over, and as I pull out, I make sure that they see that everything is empty. So I pull a little bit out here, I turn it over, I say I poke a little bit in here, pull a little bit out here, make sure it looks like one silk. I poke a little bit more down here. Tell them that you're dyeing your silk with your hand. Poke a little bit more. Now, if this would happen to fall out before you have this done, just clip it with your finger if it happens to do that. But just poke it down here and pull it out. And then my last time I do it again, I just take it and pull this straight up with the dye tube, which this is what it looks like from the back. I pull this up and I grab the dye tube and I immediately put this in my pocket or it's gone. And I ditch the dye tube and the silk, it's gone. Then I reach into my pocket. I show my hand empty, reach in my pocket, do the wiffle dust thing, open it up. And I usually wait a second as I'm staring at my hand. And then I look at the audience and say, you can do this at home. And I give it a second, and it's really strong if you just wait a second before you finish it up. But it's one of my favorite tricks, and again, it's done with 2 silks and a dye tube. Thank you for watching Showing People Amazing Magic. I hope you can use some of these routines in your shows.